Hello, everybody again. This is picking up on Isaiah. Just do 10, 11, and 12. It'll be about 2 pages. I'll keep this one shorter. Woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees, like maybe taking voter rights away, something that comes to mind, something that's important by this time. Who deprive, woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees, to deprive the poor of their rights. Again, right to vote. Who's trying to take away that right to vote? And withhold justice from the oppressed of my people. Those who are oppressed, who don't have the proper justice, like those higher up, the rich and the powerful, who make widows their prey and rob the fatherless. These scammers and thieves are out there. Woe to them. What will you do on the day of reckoning when disaster comes from afar? They will panic and they even grow even worse and increase what they do, severity and frequency. Woe to them. To whom will you run for help? Where will you leave your riches that you accumulated and stole? Nothing will remain but to cringe among the captives, fall among the slain. Captives of darkness, those who were slain. Yet for all this, his anger is not turned away. His hand is still upraised. Woe, wanting you to come home, return home before it's too late. Woe to the Assyrian, the rod of my anger, whose hand is the club of my wrath. I send him against a godless nation. So he just uses the godless to punish the godless amongst his people. So he uses darkness. He uses darkness as a weapon against humanity. I dispatch him against the people who anger me, to seize loot and snatch plunder, to trample them down like mud in the streets. See, this is pertaining to a long time ago. It's also about today. But this is not what he intends. This is not what he has in mind. His purpose is to destroy, to put an end to many nations. Speaking of darkness being used. Are not my commanders all kings, he says? Has not Calno fared like Carchemish? Is not Hamath like Arpad, and Samaria like Damascus? Has my hand seized the kingdoms of the idols, kingdoms whose images excelled those of Jerusalem and Samaria, in grandeur and beauty? Shall I not deal with Jerusalem and her images as I dealt with Samaria and her idols? Those who say they believe but don't? So I not deal the same with those who say they believe, don't really do, as he deals with those who say they don't believe? Shall he not deal with them the same way? When the Lord has finished all his work against Mount Zion and Jerusalem, he will say, I will punish the king of Assyria for the willful pride of his heart and the haughty look in his eyes. Those he uses to punish and destroy, he will in turn punish and destroy them. Just like he did with Jeremiah, mentioned in Jeremiah as well. So whoever's going to be conquering and warring and conquering against whether it's against this country or other countries, God will in turn, if he's done using them, destroy them. Just use them as a remember that happens to us, attacked or invaded or whatever, terrorized, or whatever other country it happens to. Wait, after that, those that do that will in turn be destroyed. No one can escape God. When the Lord has finished all his work against Mount Zion, Jerusalem, he will say, I will punish the king of Assyria for the willful pride of his heart and the haughty look in his eyes. For he says, by the strength of my hand I have done this, and by my wisdom, his wisdom, because I have understanding, I know all. I removed the boundaries of nations. Funny message, previous message mentioned about barriers will be gone between nations. I removed the boundaries of nations. I plundered their treasures. Like a mighty one, I subdued their kings. As one reaches into a nest, so my hand reached for the wealth of the nations. as people gather abandoned eggs, gather up the scraps that's still around. So I gathered all the countries. Not one flapped a wing or opened its mouth to chirp. Does the axe raise itself above the person who swings it? Will the saw boast against the one who uses it? As if a rod were to wield the person who lifts it up, or a club brandish the one who is not wood? Therefore the Lord Almighty will send a wasting disease upon his sturdy warriors. Under his pomp a fire will be kindled like a blazing flame. A wasting disease, that was in the secret message, a wasting disease in the camps of dark, of evil, wicked. So those he uses will send a wasting disease amongst them. The light of Israel will become a fire, which references message months ago. God said, he will reacquaint mankind with a plague from the past. Could it be that? The light of Israel will become a fire, the Holy One a flame. In a single day it will burn and consume his thorns and his briars. The splendor of his forests and fertile fields will completely destroy, as when a sick person wastes away. And the remaining trees of his forest will be so few that a child could write them down. In that day, the remnant of Israel, the survivors of Jacob, will no longer rely on him who struck them down, but will truly rely on the Lord, the Holy One of Israel. Those who manage to get through all that, we'll see. Turn to the Lord, rely on him, because they see how the leaders failed them. A remnant will return. A remnant of Jacob will return to the mighty God. Return into light. Though your people will be like the sand by the sea, Israel, only a remnant will return to the Lord. Destruction has been decreed, overwhelming and righteous. It's already put forth, can't stop it. The Lord Almighty, will carry out the destruction decreed upon the whole land. Therefore, this is what the Lord Almighty says. My people who live in Zion, do not be afraid of the Assyrians, who beat you with a rod and lift a club against you as Egypt did. Very soon my anger against you will end, and my wrath will be directed to their destruction. So those who do not taken up, keep focusing on God, keep focusing on God. Thank you for everything, good and bad. Keep focusing on him. It's all for a reason, to help you, just like a loving parent disciplines a child in a perfect way. And very soon his anger will end, and his wrath will be directed to the destruction of those he used. So, well, why would the Lord use somebody, turn around and punish them for it? He allows darkness to do things as a tool, whether they're aware of it or not. I'm still not sure exactly uses them, that they're aware of it, the devil is aware of it. Like he did with Job. It's like, hey, go do this to this, but give me your best shot. We'll go do it again. That hints to me that part of it is that, and part of it is the devil doesn't realize. Because remember, the devil's like the student. God is the teacher. When a student dropped out of school before he learned everything from the teacher, because he revolted and got kicked out, expelled. The Lord Almighty will lash them with a whip, as when he struck down Midian at the rock of Oreb. He will raise his staff over the waters as did Egypt. In that day their burden will be lifted from your shoulders, their yoke from your neck. The yoke will be broken because you have grown so fat. They enter Elath, or Ayath. They pass through Miglon. They store supplies at Michmash. They go over the pass and say, we will camp overnight at Geba. Ramah trembles. Gibeah of Saul flees. Cry out, daughter Galan. Listen, Laisha. Poor Anath, mentioning people and places. Being in flight, tell them to listen. People of Gibeon take cover. This day they will halt at this place at Nob. They will shake their fist at the mount of daughter Zion, at the hill of Jerusalem. They will shake. They will cry out against God. See, the Lord Almighty will lop off the balls with great power. He will lop off those, basically trim the detritus, dead leaves from the tree. The lofty trees will be felled, the tall ones will be brought low. Those who are high shall be exalted, shall be brought low, humbled. He will cut down the forest thickets with an axe. Lebanon will fall before the mighty one. Chapter 11. A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and of understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of might, the Spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord. He will delight in the fear of the Lord. I'm speaking of Jesus. coming then, Jesus returning. He's already here as it manifested. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes, as mankind does, or decide by what he hears with his ears, as mankind does. But with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. Judges on the truth of your soul. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, with the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. Righteousness will be his belt, and faithfulness the sash around his waist. The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf, the lion, and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. All peace will come. The cow will feed with the bear, the young will be lied down together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. No more carnivorous beasts that were carnivorous will no longer be carnivorous. The infant will play near the cobra's den. The young child will put his hand into the viper's nest. Where was I? So all will lie down, be no more carnivorousness, what I'm getting from that. The infant will play near the cobra's den. The young child will put his hand into the viper's nest. They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain. The earth will be filled with knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. So all creation will return as it was supposed to be. No violence, like any creatures that God created, will not be after each other to eat each other. They will feed off the land. In that day, the root of Jesse will stand as a banner for the peoples. The nations will rally to him, and his resting place will be glorious. In that day, the Lord will reach out his hand a second time to reclaim the surviving remnant of his people from Assyria, from Lower Egypt, from Upper Egypt, from Cush, from Elam, from Babylonia, from Hamath, from the islands of the Mediterranean. So in that day, he will reach forth, reclaim the surviving remnant, taking those I'm getting who are in pit that are marked for salvation, which I will be a part of. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth. The humble and the meek shall inherit the earth. Meek. Ephraim's jealousy will vanish. No more jealousy. Judah's enemies will be destroyed. No more enemies of man, of God. Ephraim will not be jealous of Judah, nor Judah hostile toward Ephraim. All hate, mistrust, and jealousy, anger will be gone. They will swoop down on the slopes of Philistia to the west, and all the lands. Together they will plunder the people to the east. They will subdue all the enemies that still remain. The Lord will dry up the Gulf, the Egyptian Sea. The scorching wind will sweep his hand over the Euphrates River. He'll break it up into 7 streams so that anyone can cross over in sandals. So it will diminish those streams, some of the waters, so people can cross over. It will be a highway for the remnant of his people that is left from Assyria, as there was for Israel when they came up into Egypt. So he's going to open up avenues of travel that weren't previously opened up. Exactly what they will be, the Euphrates or not, I don't know. Chapter 12. In that day you will say, I will praise you, Lord. Although you were angry with me, your anger has turned away and you have comforted me. Surely God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. Say this now. The Lord himself is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation. With joy you will draw water from the wells of salvation. Say this now. In that day, now, say, give praise to the Lord. Proclaim his name. Make known among the nations what he has done. Proclaim that his name is exalted. Praise God every day. Give thanks. Sing to the Lord, for he has done glorious things. Let this be known to all the world. Shout aloud and sing for joy, people of Zion, for great is the Holy One of Israel among you. Praise God, praise God, praise God. One nap there. I'll pick up on 13 next. So much in these prophets speak of today as well. Remember, everything that's on the Bible. Let's get the superficial preliminary meaning. Excuse me. And then deeper meanings. You have to ask for discernment. Ask for that discernment, and you will see them. As I have seen them. You may see many that I haven't seen. You'll see what he wants you to see. Not what you want to see. Not what darkness wants you to see. Stay safe. Peace of Christ. God bless.